On a dusty street at sunset, a rough bandit suddenly grabs her purse and tries to run, but she refuses to let go. Her hands shake, yet her grip tightens, because that purse carries the last memory of her mother. People freeze, watching the struggle, too afraid to help. The bandit pulls harder, expecting her to cry and surrender, but she lifts her chin with quiet fire in her eyes. Fear beats inside her chest, yet her heart whispers that losing this purse would mean losing herself. A silent cowboy across the road notices every move, his gaze sharp and curious. He sees not just a poor girl, but a brave soul fighting against helpless fate. As the dust swirls around them, tension grows thicker, and everyone wonders who will break first in this dangerous moment before help arrives or courage finally changes her destiny forever. Tonight, right now alone, she is known in the town as a quiet and simple girl, but her silence hides a story of loss and strength. Every day she walks carefully, guarding her small purse as if it carries her entire life. Inside it rest faded letters, a photo, and the last blessing from her late mother. People think it is only money, but for her it is love that cannot be replaced. She speaks little, smiles less, and works hard to survive without complaint. Yet beneath her calm face lives a quiet courage waiting for the right moment. Today that moment arrives, and the girl who was always ignored begins to reveal a fire no one has ever seen before. Her heart beats fast, but her memories give her strength, and this silent struggle will soon show the town that she is far stronger than she looks. In this unexpected turning point today, before anyone could breathe, the bandit's face hardened and his grip turned cruel as he yanked the purse again, whispering a threat that chilled the evening air. She felt the force drag her forward, dust scratching her feet, yet she planted herself like a rooted tree and refused to release it. Fear fluttered wildly inside her chest, but memories of her mother's gentle voice rose stronger, telling her to never abandon what carried love. The crowd remained frozen, eyes wide, hearts pounding, still unsure whether to step in or stay silent. The bandit smirked, believing her strength would fade within seconds, so he pulled harder, twisting the strap to make her hands ache. Pain shot through her fingers, but she tightened them, breath shaking yet determined. He leaned closer and hissed that no one would save a poor girl, hoping those words would break her spirit. Instead, they awakened a stubborn courage she never knew she possessed. Her gaze lifted and met his, not with anger, but with quiet defiance that unsettled him for a brief moment. The wind swirled dust around them, turning the street into a stage of silent tension where every heartbeat felt louder than thunder. Some bystanders looked away, ashamed of their fear, while others watched helplessly, sensing that this struggle was more than a purse, it was a fight for dignity. The bandit suddenly jerked the strap sharply, trying to unbalance her, and she stumbled, knees almost touching the ground, yet she refused to fall completely. She remembered nights of hunger, long walks alone, and the promise she made to protect the last pieces of her past, and that promise fueled her grip. Her eyes glistened, not with surrender, but with fierce loyalty to the love hidden inside the worn purse. The bandit grew impatient, his confidence cracking as he realized she would not easily yield, so he raised his voice to scare her into submission. The threat echoed across the street, and tension tightened like a drawn bow, ready to snap at any second. She swallowed her fear, steadied her breathing, and held on as if her future depended on this single moment, because in truth it did. Each second stretched painfully long, and the struggle became a test of will rather than strength. The silent cowboy watching from afar narrowed his eyes, recognizing that this fragile-looking woman was standing against fate itself, and the outcome of this clash was about to change more than just one evening. He sensed that one small decision could either save her hope or crush it forever, yet he still waited, testing the depth of her resolve. The bandit pulled once more with desperate force, but her grip held firm, and that stubborn resistance began to shake his control. A hush fell over the crowd as they realized the moment was reaching a breaking point no one could ignore. Her courage now challenged not just him, but the fear inside every witness waiting for fate to decide across the silent street. The cowboy kept his boots still and his eyes fixed on her trembling yet unbroken stance. He had stepped into many fights before, but this time he held himself back, wanting to see whether her courage was only fear wearing a mask or something deeper and real. The bandit's grip shook with frustration while she refused to release the purse, and every second that passed revealed a stubborn strength he did not expect from such a quiet woman. He watched the way her shoulders straightened after each painful tug, the way her eyes refused to close even when tears threatened to fall, and he sensed that this was not blind desperation, but a choice born from love and memory. The crowd shifted nervously, wondering why the tall stranger did nothing, yet he remained still, testing the truth of her resolve. In his mind, a silent question repeated again and again: would she still stand if no one came to help? The bandit tried to scare her with another harsh pull, hoping her spirit would finally collapse, but she answered with silence and a firmer hold that surprised even herself. Dust brushed against her face, sweat traced along her temple, yet her fingers stayed locked as if guided by an invisible promise. The cowboy noticed how fear lived in her eyes, yet never ruled her actions, and that rare balance slowly earned his respect. He had met many who acted brave for attention, but she fought quietly, as if the world around her did not matter. The tension grew heavier, stretching the moment until it felt endless, and he realized that stepping in too soon would steal the chance for her strength to speak for itself. Still, he stayed alert, ready to move the instant danger crossed a line that courage alone could not handle. The bandit's confidence weakened as her resistance refused to break, and the cowboy saw doubt flicker across the thief's face. That small sign told him her spirit was genuine, not a desperate illusion. His respect deepened into admiration, and a quiet decision formed within him that if she could endure one moment more, he would stand beside her not as a savior, but as a witness to her own victory. The air grew still, every gaze locked on the struggle, and the cowboy finally felt certain that her bravery was real and worth defending when the next move changed everything. His fingers brushed the edge of his belt, not drawing a weapon, but preparing for the moment when patience must end and action must begin. He measured the distance, the rhythm of her breathing, and the fading strength in the bandit's arms. The decision settled in his chest like a calm promise, and he took one slow step forward, unseen by most, ready to reveal himself if the next pull threatened to break her grip forever. He waited, letting her courage shine one last time before fate forced his hand forward now in that breathless instant. As his step edged closer and the bandit prepared another violent yank, she sensed that waiting would only drain the last of her strength, so a sudden idea flashed through her mind like a spark in darkness. Instead of pulling back again, she moved forward, shifting her weight toward him with unexpected speed that caught him off guard and broke the rhythm of his force. The strap twisted between their hands, and for a brief second she felt it slipping, panic surging as the purse nearly slid free. Yet she tightened her fingers and used the moment to step sideways, unbalancing him. Dust rose sharply as their struggle turned into a dangerous dance, each motion faster, more desperate, more charged with emotion. The crowd gasped softly, realizing the fragile woman they pitted was now controlling the flow of the fight. The bandit snarled and lunged again, trying to overpower her with brute strength, but her quick thinking pushed her to turn her body away, forcing him to follow and lose steady footing. Her heart pounded wildly, warning that one mistake could end everything. Yet she gathered the fragments of courage left inside her and held firm. Pain burned through her wrists. Her breath came in uneven waves. Still her eyes stayed focused, refusing to surrender even when fear whispered that she could not win alone. For one terrifying moment, the strap stretched to its limit, threads creaking as if about to snap, and the possibility of losing it forever flashed before her eyes like a nightmare. She remembered her mother's smile, the warmth of a hand that once guided her, and that memory filled her with a final surge of strength. With a sharp, bold motion, she stepped closer instead of retreating, forcing the bandit backward as surprise replaced his earlier confidence. The shift stunned him, breaking his control, and his grip loosened just enough to give her hope. The struggle reached its peak, every heartbeat echoing like a drum, every movement carrying the weight of danger and emotion. She planted her feet firmly, shoulders steady, and held on with a resolve stronger than fear itself. The bandit realized too late that the quiet girl he tried to scare had become a wall he could not easily break. His frustration grew reckless, and he made one last desperate pull, but she matched it with unwavering determination, standing firm as if the ground itself supported her stand. In that charged moment, the balance of power changed, and the fight that once seemed hopeless now trembled on the edge of her victory. Waiting for the next move that would decide whether courage or cruelty would rule this street forever, that decisive instant hung in the air, and the bandit struggled to regain control. A calm but firm sound of approaching boots cut through the tension like a quiet command that could not be ignored. The cowboy stepped forward from the dusty edge of the street, his presence steady and unhurried, yet filled with a strength that shifted the balance more than any sudden attack. The bandit noticed him and hesitated, eyes flickering between the determined woman who still held the purse and the tall stranger whose calm gaze carried silent authority. The woman felt the change immediately, not as rescue that weakened her fight, but as support that honored her courage. She did not loosen her grip. Instead, she stood even straighter, letting the bandit see that fear no longer ruled her. The cowboy stopped a few steps away, saying nothing, allowing his composed silence to speak louder than threats. His eyes remained sharp, watching every movement, ready to act if danger rose again, yet he gave her space to hold her ground. The bandit's confidence finally cracked under the weight of two unyielding wills, and his aggressive pulse softened into uncertainty. He glanced around, sensing that the crowd's fear was fading, replaced by quiet respect for the woman who refused to surrender. The cowboy took one more measured step, not rushing, not showing anger, only a calm certainty that ended the chaos without violence. That simple movement carried enough warning to make the bandit release the strap abruptly, as if the fight had lost all meaning. He stepped back, muttering under his breath, pride wounded more than strength, then turned away and disappeared into the fading light, defeated by courage rather than force. The street remained silent for a long moment, dust settling slowly as the danger finally dissolved. The woman's hands trembled now that the struggle had ended, yet she still held the purse tightly against her chest, breathing deeply as relief mixed with lingering fear. She looked up cautiously, meeting the cowboy's gaze for the first time, unsure whether to thank him or simply remain silent. In his eyes, she did not see pity, only deep admiration that surprised her more than the fight itself. He saw beyond her worn clothes and tired face, recognizing a spirit that had faced fear alone and refused to bow. That realization changed something inside him, reshaping his view of strength and dignity forever. To him, she was no longer just a poor girl in a dusty street, but a brave soul who defended her memories with unwavering loyalty. He gave a small, respectful nod, as if acknowledging an equal, not a victim, and that quiet gesture warmed her heart more than loud praise ever could. The moment closed gently, yet its impact remained strong, sealing a silent bond built on courage, respect, and the truth that her bravery had rewritten how he would see her for the rest of his life. He finally allowed a faint smile to appear and said softly, "That's my kind of woman," not as a claim but as pure respect for the courage she showed when no one else moved. The words reached her heart like warm sunlight after a long, cold night, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly seen, not as a burden, but as a person of worth and strength. She held the purse close, realizing it was never only about memories, but about the fearless spirit her mother had planted inside her. The street returned to its usual noise, yet something inside her remained forever changed and unbreakable. The cowboy's quiet admiration promised a future shaped by dignity, not pity, while she walked forward with steady steps, knowing that protecting what the heart loves most is the bravest act anyone can ever choose.